2016. When everyone thinks about 2016, it's very easy to point at and look at all the negatives and all the negativity, with all that's happened around the world, lately and in 2016, you look at all the polarization in politics, the tragic situation in Syria. So many great people passing away, such as, Muhammad Ali, Kobe Bryant, one of my favorite basketball players on all time, great, retiring after 20 seasons. Sure, when you look at it from a world perspective, sure, there's been so much negatives in the media, and so maybe I can see the justification that 2016 has been a bad year. But for me personally, 2016 has probably been the best year of my life so far. And to understand why, you have to put it into context. The year before, actually, 2015, was actually probably the worst year of my life. I wasn't where I wanted to be mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever, right? I wasn't happy, just to put it in the general sense. Knowing me, I always try to be an ambitious person, but at that point in time, I felt lost. I felt like I had no direction at all. I didn't know what I was doing in my life. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't have any drive or any motivation for anything. But then slowly I came to realize a few things. The biggest one was that there's always going to be two things in life. There's going to be one that, there's going to be things that you can't control, and then there's going to be things that you can control. And all I really did was make it a habit to stress the things that I have no control over, and optimize everything that I do have control over. And it is easier said than done. When there's just so much going on in the world and there's so much around you, it's a lot easier to feel overwhelmed with all the negativity around you. And a lot of times I was overwhelmed too. But for me, and I feel like for everyone, it should be constantly reminding myself, to focus on what I have control over. And it wasn't just me, all of my good friends who were there for me to remind me, to push me and focus, to help me focus on following all of the things I was passionate about that were in my control. I had my family, I had all of that, sticking with me through the whole process. There was a lot of things in 2016 that were out of my control that were, that were bad circumstances. I had the foot injury, I tore like a ligament in my ankle or something. It was probably one of the biggest obstacles. I got food poisoning twice on my trip to Pakistan. My weight dropped down to 119 pounds, which was, the level of anorexia. That and all that little drama and stuff like that, I just had to go through it all, constantly reminding myself to let go of stressing about those little things. There were times where I was frustrated, pissed off, I felt defeated, but that's the point. It's a process, and it's a process that you have to trust. And trusting that process is actually what made 2016 the best year of my life. It led to some of the accomplishments in my life that I'm most proud of. I performed the best I have in school, like academically and grade-wise. I'm physically the most fit I've been in my life, despite dropping down to 119. I'm 143 or 45 now. At one point I was able to balance 17 units in 3 jobs, and that's something I did not know I had the capability of doing before. And towards the end of the year, I launched my own company, which, if you know me, that's been a dream of mine. I had launched my own tutoring company. And so those are my successes for 2016, and it was just a simple idea of realizing that, I just really had to focus what was in my control. It's easy with everything else going on, it's easy to be overwhelmed and, be down because there's so much that isn't in your control. But to me, it wasn't about focusing on that. I was focusing on what I did have control over. The reason I made this video wasn't really about nostalgia or to really brag about, everything that I've overcome or everything that I've accomplished. It was more about the message, Like I said, you see all the negativity in the news, all the stuff happening around the world. It's easy to feel down. When there's so much out of your control, it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. But if you can just surround yourself with the people closest to you and remind yourself to focus on what you can control and not to sweat the little stuff, I can almost promise you that you can be happier. A lot of times when people say they can't change their situation, to an extent it may be true, but to a large part I think it's BS. It just takes commitment, and probably a lot of commitment, but it's not impossible. You can change your situation. Just focus on all of the great things you have around you and capitalize on that. That's probably the best way to look at it, best way to do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, to everyone that was part of my 2016, thank you. And to everyone watching this, I hope you all have a blessed new year full of happiness and success. And always remember that the grass is always greener where you water it. This is Daily Motion signing off for 2016. Happy New Year.